The Aggies making a change to their starting five. Johnny McCants not in the starting five tonight, so it's Gilliard, Rice, Henry, Tillman, and Wilfred Lakai. Donnie Tillman making his second straight start, and Wilfred Lakai is back in the starting five after coming off the bench in last night's 10-point Aggie loss. Meanwhile, for the Lancers, they have not changed their starting five yet this year. This is going to be the 15th game for CBU. Same starting five, and it's a good starting five. Tyrell, the aforementioned Reed Nottage. Trey Armstrong had a good game last night. He scored 18. The St. Mary's grad transfer Elijah Thomas and Gorjak Gak. We'll see how the Aggies play him defensively. Gak, 8 of 10 from the field. 18 points on Friday for head coach Rick Roy and CBU. You talked a lot last night, Russ, about how young Rick Roy looks, and he's in his 8th year at CBU.
Well, on top of that, he's got 300 wins in college basketball, but he's done a terrific job. They're always difficult to guard. They upset the New Mexico State Aggies a couple of years ago in Riverside, and they certainly had the Aggies the number last night.
Last night's win for the Lancers was their first road win of the season, and they will have the first offensive possession. Lancers in the gold, the Aggies in the crimson. Great to have you with us tonight. The Lancers average a league best 84 points per game. Here's Elijah Thomas, the St. Mary's grad transfer. A tip is no good for Gorjak Gak, and it's cleared by the Aggies and Wilfred Lakai. NM State last night made 7 first-half threes. The Aggies shot the ball so much better than the previous 2 games against GCU. UNLV transfer Donnie Tillman outside for Lakai with 10 on the timer. Tillman is checked by Nottage. Height advantage for Donnie, and he takes advantage down low, which is something he did not do yesterday.
Well, one thing I'd like to see Donnie Tillman do against California Baptist is stop head faking, because they're not jumping at the head fakes. It's just not that kind of team. And I meant to say that yesterday, Adam. I forgot, is he spends a lot of time head faking against guys who are shorter than him that can't jump as well as he can.
Charge is drawn by Evan Gilliard. Rick Roy does not like the call. Chris Chance puts his hands up in the air, getting heated early. Our 3 officials tonight: Scott Brown, Doran Gottschall, and Chad Shepard.
And are those throwback jerseys, Adam? Those
they
look
are.
like,
yeah.
What year is that, do you suppose?
Gosh.
It's before I was an Aggie.
Maybe the 70s or the 80s
I was gonna
with
say,
the look, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll do our research on that.
The Aggies wore these once last year against Washington State on the road. I think they wore them also in Denver last year, so one of those alternate uniforms. The Aggies looking for some scoring punch in the interior. They haven't had a whole lot of that yet this year. Really missing Ivan Aorekoechea, who graduated a year ago for the Aggies. 10 to shoot for Donnie Tillman. Rice swings it for Henry. He was great from the arc last night, and Clayton Henry almost got the roll. It is last touch by Donnie Tillman. That's a good look, though, Russ, for Clayton Henry, who last night got back on track. He was 3 for 6 from 3.
That's right, and they're sharing the ball. It's a little bit crisper looking so far tonight.
2-0 Aggies. 18:15 left here in the first half. Tyrell lobs it for Gorjak Gak, who just leaps right over Evan Gilliard to put it in.
Well, it looked like the Aggies were going to switch on the screen and roll on the play before that, but it's going to be very different, a screen from the top of the key.
And Henry tosses it over the head of Gilliard on the other end. Gorjak Gak was giving the Aggies fits in the first half last night. He was so good offensively.
Yeah, and I suspect that's why Johnny McCants isn't starting. You know, I thought Johnny McCants played pretty well last night, but he did not play well the first 3 minutes. And that helped California Baptist get off to a fast start.
There's Gak again, the Florida grad transfer, off to a good start again tonight.
And this is what's so damaging, Adam, is this is what happened last night, is Gorjak Gak dominated inside, and that opens up the 3-point shooting for California Baptist. And so that's not a good sign for the Aggies.
Jabari Rice almost lost it. Evan Gilliard will reset. It's 4-2 Lancers nearly 3 minutes in. Lakai, a forced three, and that will bounce out of bounds. Ball goes to CBU.
Ball out of bounds to California Baptist.
Now Johnny McCants will come in for Wilfred Lakai. Chris Jan's just looking for something different. Johnny McCants coming off the bench for the first time. He's done this a lot in his career. He was not a starter until last year. Johnny was off the bench a lot his first couple of years.
No, but he's always been a force. He just plays so hard, and he's a smart player. Just that he got off to the first couple minutes, Gak caused him so many problems last night.
They lob it again for Gak, and he slams it left-handed. A good pass as well by the point guard, Ty Rowell.
Yeah, this is not something I've ever seen from a Chris Jan's coach team, that they have trouble guarding the post, or not as much trouble as they've had the last couple games.
Donnie Tillman, an aggressive move. He will head to the free throw line for two.
And it's the second lob to... He's just a little bit too big for the Aggies down there, it seems. And I think this is what we talked about before the game, Adam. It means that they're going to have to extend the pressure and make it more difficult for the guards to get the ball inside. I suspected the Aggies might pick up more full court just because they're deeper than California Baptist, but that hasn't happened yet. But I won't be surprised to see full court pressure before the end of the evening.
I'm sure we'll see a lot of adjustments from last night to tonight. 6-4 Lancers, both free throws good for Tillman. 16:45 left here in the first half. Gilliard picking up Ty Rowell, a really good point guard matchup here. Rowell, step back, long two. He's good from everywhere. The Canadian, the point guard for CBU.
Boy, he's tough. And he's bigger than you think. And when I walked down on the floor before the game, those guys, Nottage and Rowell, they're not little guys. Or Trey Armstrong, for that matter.
Lancers typically will play four guards. They can do it because they're big and their guards rebound well. Here's McCants to the rim. Finger roll is no good. Gets his own miss. Trying to find an angle, and he can't stuff it in. Johnny McCants really struggling this year in 8 games from around the rim, where he has been so good during his entire career. Good verticality by Donnie Tillman. The Aggies trail by 4. They push here. Under 16 left in half one. Tillman back outside for Rice. He scored 17 last night. We thought maybe he wouldn't play tonight, Rice, and he looks healthy.
Well, that's right. And as thin as he is sturdy and tough, and he's much stronger than he looks. And so I've been impressed with, and he's tough mentally as well. So I've been impressed with the way Jabari Rice deals with when he does get hurt and bumped. He always bounces back.
They called it a heel injury yesterday for Rice. Henry will fake the pass, take it himself, and lay it in. The Aggies are ahead by 1.
Good decision by Clayton Henry. I think he wanted to pass that, but realized he had to take that to the basket.
I thought maybe we'd see a lob to Donnie Tillman for a dunk, and like you said, good idea by Henry to take it himself.
See, they're switching those ball screens now, Adam, so it gives it a very different look.
Good pass, threading the needle. Johnny McCants, he finds the 5'9" Evan Gilliard.
And this is what I'm talking about. They're just extending that pressure a little more frantic pace on the perimeter. They just can't make it easy to throw the ball into Gak.
Aggies 11, Lancers 11, as Ty Rowell now has a handful for CBU. He struggled with his shot last night. Rowell was 2 of 12 from the field, 0 for 3 last night from distance, and he's back on track here in game 2 of the weekend.
But 8 assists and just 2 turnovers. I thought he really dominated the game in many ways. He just didn't shoot the ball well.
Donnie Tillman, that time, Russ, the pump fake was used to his advantage.
Well, yes, on Gak, maybe it's worthwhile.
Aggies 11, Lancers 11, 14:06 left, half one from El Paso. Pretty good start, Russ, but the Aggies have had good starts in each of their previous 3 games. It's resulted in losses. We'll see if they can sustain this going forward.
That's right, and we talked about it last night a little bit, where they came down and popped a couple threes to start the game, and then you think it's going to be easy. and it certainly wasn't easy last night.
And here tonight for CBU, we see how many weapons they have. Because like you said, yeah, Tyrell had 8 helpers last night, but he didn't score much. Well, now Rao has 5 of the 11 for CBU. Nottage hasn't scored yet, neither has Armstrong, but there's so many weapons for Rick Roy.
That's right, and that's what's scary is that they've been quiet so far, and who knows when they'll bust loose. We're still looking at Jabari Rice there getting, looks like he's getting a little extra work done on his ankle.
He's giving Chris Jans everything he has and some more right now.
Well, you know what I suspect it was there is either the tape was either too tight or too loose, that he just wanted a quick adjustment because it doesn't look like anything serious. He's already putting his shoes back on.
Donnie Tillman has already attempted 3 free throws. He's 2 of 3 from the stripe. Young man from Detroit, redshirt senior, transfer from UNLV. And he splits the pair. The Aggies go ahead by 1.
Substitution for the Aggies.
Will McNair comes in for Tillman. So now McCants and McNair both in together. And Carbone off the Lancers bench brings the Lancers out of the backcourt. And that's an offensive foul. Mark Carbone. It's one of those brush screens, Russ, where they're really putting a point of emphasis on it the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've got to hold still on it, and it's if you're not used to that kind of whistle, it takes some adjustment.
First touch for C.J. Roberts tonight. He was really good off the Aggie bench in limited action a night ago. Here's Roberts again. Transfer from Ranger JUCO. Attacks are Nottage. And he threw it to himself. He could not catch that. That's a violation, and ball goes to CBU. My old high school coach always told me, Russ, never jump to pass.
He was correct.
Yeah.
Well, although occasionally you'll see guys who if they know what Lou Henson would say is, if you jump to pass, you better know where you're throwing it. Don't jump up in the air and then decide, which is what C.J. Roberts did there.
There's a floater that misses for Armstrong, tapped out of bounds by Malik Wade. An interview I did with Chris Jans during the offseason, he also talked about that, and he said sometimes when you have athletic guys, they can make decisions in midair, but we certainly don't teach that, and that's what led to the Roberts turnover on the previous possession.
Yeah, it takes a special player to do it, and it's one of the things to think about. We talked about Sean Buchanan at length last night, and he's not as big or quick or as good a shooter as C.J. Roberts, but he was a blend guy and a glue guy.
Roberts spins it down low for McCants. He had Carbone defending him. He skips it out for Gilliard, and he knocks down the triple.
Well, I thought McCants would go to work there. This is where McCants is so valuable, is he cares nothing about, all he cares about is winning.
And there's a turnover on CBU out of the reach of Reed Nottage.
And I'll give the assist on that one to Will McNair, who jumped right in front of the man cutting to the basket. And I think if Will McNair jumped in front of me and I was in my car, I would be worried. I mean, he's a big young man.
We both felt like he grew up last night.
Oh yes, I thought there weren't many bright spots last night for the Aggies, but McNair was certainly one of them.
Aggies ahead by 4, 12:40 left in half one. Here's McNair. He was looking high-low for McCants. Now he has to find a guard, and he dishes it outside to Rice. Here's Kalen Williams. Chris Jans going deep into his bench in the first 7 minutes plus. 6 to shoot for Rice. He has to go to work. He'll shoot a 3, and he hits another.
Yeah, only great players can make that shot. And what he just did there, a little head fake and fake the pass and still shoot the 3, because it breaks up your rhythm. Larry Bird could do it. I'm not quite putting Jabari in the same category, but
dump ball from Rao, the basket for Malik Wade, who scored 6 in 14 minutes off the bench yesterday.
Once again, it's the screen and roll that's causing the Aggies trouble, and tonight it's coming from the top of the key. So as the Aggies have made adjustments, so has California Baptist. It's an interesting chess game going on with Rick Croy and Chris Jans, the coaches.
This is an Aggie combination we have not seen yet this year. Roberts, Williams, Rice, McNair, and McCants. And there is C.J. Roberts with the acrobatic finish. That's a warning for C.J. Roberts. He touched the basketball after it went through the hoop.
Well, he was trying to help.
He was trying to. It was harmless. The Aggies have made 6 straight from the field, 7 of 11 in the first 8 minutes plus. Aggies ahead by 7 here at Eastwood High School. NM stay with their largest lead of the game. They lead by 7. Another good start, really, for the 4th straight game for the Aggies. They got off to a good start in both games last weekend in Phoenix against Grand Canyon. A good start last night, just could not sustain it, and this has been a sustained run so far for the Aggies, Russ. They've made 6 straight from the field. There's been bench production. The defense has clearly been better. The Aggies have forced 5 turnovers, and it's led to 7 points off turnovers so far.
Yes, the problem, of course, is California Baptist, they're smart and they can shoot, and I don't think they'll ever be out of the game unless the Aggies were to blow it open, and I can't see that happening.
Lancers 4-3 in the WAC this year. The Aggies are 0-3 in the league. Tyrell has 7 of the 15 for CBU.
Yeah, they just cannot control the screen and roll, and it's happened time after time. And Rowell's is not the fastest guy in the world, but he's smart and he's tough, and his timing is very good.
Lancers really missed him a year ago. He only played in 8 games, had a season-ending injury. So the Aggies never saw Tyrell a year ago. And the Aggies combined to beat the Lancers by 48 combined in the 2 wins last year. But that was without Tyrell, who is now one of the best point guards in the conference. Might be the best numbers-wise. And McNair had it poked away. You do not want to see Will McNair put the ball on the deck, and Gack took advantage. Here's the pick and roll game between Rowell and Gack. They're so good together. And the Western Nebraska Community College transfer, Kalen Williams, fouls Rowell. That's a handful for anybody to defend. And now Gilliard will come in for Williams. Russ, I feel like Tyrell's game is made for the pick and roll.
It is, but you know, it's easy for us to say now, but you wouldn't think so. He doesn't seem like he's fast enough to there's a rare 3 from Elijah Thomas. But yeah, he doesn't seem like he'd be fast enough to be dangerous, but he's so smart, and he's thick. He's bigger than you think. When you get down there, boy, he's thick in the shoulders, and he's built like a heavyweight.
McCants puts it in right over Reed Nottage, who is trying to draw a charge.
And that's what I mean about that. There's no point in head faking Reed Nottage. He's not going to block the shot. And so McCants played it smart that time.
Now the Aggies switch on the pick and roll. And Rowell will shoot a forced 3 over Rice. That's an adjustment.
I think they either need to switch it or trap the dribbler out there, because Gack's not going to. If Gack gets the ball at the top of the key, he's not going to do anything with it anyway. But it's easy for me to say, sitting up here 30 feet away, and I think it's very different once you're trying to fight over a screen and have Ty Rowell to deal with. Now they're in the zone, though, it looks like, Adam.
You just saw Chris Jans. I don't think that man slept last night trying to find adjustments in a way to get a win here tonight. With a quick turnaround just 24 hours later. The Aggies saw a lot of zone last weekend in Phoenix. They saw some zone last night. Roberts splits the zone and he floats it in. He's a spark plug off the bench.
He's a talent, isn't he? And if the Aggies could get C.J. Roberts going, it could make a big difference this year.
Roberts, a former 4-star, Gilliard with the steal, hands it off to Rice, who finger rolls it home.
Well, they have extended the pressure, and this is what I was talking about trying to make it difficult for the dribbler. I think if they wait till they get to the 3-point line, it's too late.
The Aggies are daring Gack to shoot. He has not made a career 3. Now he's going to back down McCants. Left-handed hook will pinball in. He has a toolkit down there, doesn't he?
He does, and it makes it difficult. Like that was 4 or 5 dribbles, and normally the Aggies would double team that. But they've got so many good shooters. It's hard to make that choice.
You always talked about that last year, Russ, with Ivan Aorekoechea and his toolkit down low as Roberts puts in another.
Well, he was Big Ivan. He was like Kevin McHale down there. He just had a million moves.
C.J. Roberts has 6 in just 5 minutes. He had 7 in 18 minutes last night. Elijah Thomas made a 3 earlier. It was only his 5th made 3 this year. The Aggies are kind of daring him to shoot. And now Thomas runs over the defender. Charge is drawn by Johnny McCants.
This is what I mean about McCants. He'll block a shot. He'll take a charge. He does everything out there. And he's hurting now. Like, he took that one right in the chest. And it was an elbow to the neck, it looked like. But there's no, he didn't flinch, and he's not saying, take me out.
We have one of the officials over at the monitor. And we're just trying to double check to make sure it was on Elijah Thomas, and it was. So the foul is on Thomas. Not sure why there was any confusion towards that. NM State has turned up the defense here today, forcing 7 turnovers, but the Lancers are still shooting 9 of 14 from the field. Gilliard wrapped up by Nottage.
Foul Lancers, number 11, Trey Armstrong, his first 16.
Hard to believe we are in February, and the Aggies are looking for their first conference win. 0-3 in the WAC, 3-4 overall. The Aggies have lost 3 straight.
At this time last year, the Aggies pretty much had the league wrapped up.
Yeah, this is when they started to peak, right around this time last year. Donnie Tillman wasn't here a year ago. He's a transfer from UNLV, and he banks it in. Donnie Tillman has 7.
Well, he can keep head faking Reed Nottage, but he can just go up over him. It's more effective.
Biggest lead for the Aggies tonight. Ahead by 10 here in half 1. Still no points for Nottage or Armstrong. A foul well away from the basket. Just team foul number 2 for the Aggies. Quite the start for NM State. Just 24 hours after a 10-point loss last night. The Aggies lead by 10. Under 8 left to go in half 1 in El Paso. Both teams are sizzling from the field. The Aggies 75%, CBU 64%. The Aggies are not in Las Cruces, playing their home games now at Eastwood High School in El Paso, 50 miles away from the Aggie campus. We talked about this, Russ, so often last night. What a beautiful venue.
It is a beautiful venue, but has anybody had bigger challenges in America than Chris Jan's New Mexico State Aggies? They've really been up against it. They've hardly played any games, and they've got to travel to do everything.
Mark Carbone is long on his 3. The Aggies, of course, had to relocate to Phoenix on November 17th. They got to go back to Las Cruces. C.J. Roberts is going to shoot 3 free throws as he tries to continue his outstanding first half. Then the Aggies, Russ, came back to Las Cruces, but they could only practice. They can't play games there. So now they can use their facilities, but they can't play games. So it's just tougher and tougher for these guys, but they're finding a way to grind through it and stay together.
That's right, and it's happening tonight. And what I just saw that was so encouraging was not just that C.J. Roberts seems to be coming into his own here, but he gets knocked down, and almost before he hit the ground, there was Evan Gilliard and Donnie Tillman to pick him up, and that has been the mark of Chris Jans' team for years. Is this sort of, we're all in this together. And sometimes it means, when a coach as tough as Chris Jans, they bind, that he's hard on the whole group, and they're going to prove to him, it's, pretty basic psychology, but they're going to prove to him that they're tough enough to do it. And maybe they're turning a corner here tonight.
Rebound cleared by Gack. His shoe came loose, and
that might be a good strategy to stop him. Maybe if they can untie his shoelaces when he's not looking.
There's a 4 and 5 there for a moment. Sounds like something you've done before, Russ.
Well, that was about the only way I could stop anybody on defense.
Trey Armstrong backing down Henry. McCants is there for the help if they need him. That's a tough shot for Gack, and McCants is whistled for his first personal.
Yeah, that's the one place Johnny McCants should not have trouble with Gack, because he should be able to match him off the dribble.
13.
And maybe a little better help from Henry might have assisted Johnny McCants, because you don't see McCants get beat off the dribble very often.
For the Lancers, number 12.
Gack is not a great free throw shooter, 65% for the year. He is a good field goal shooter, though, 63% from the field. Has a decent looking shot. He is from Sydney, Australia. Grad transfer after 4 seasons with the Florida Gators. A lot of grad transfers this year for Rick Roy.
You watch and see now Gack will keep getting better and better. He just didn't get enough minutes at Florida. And as Will McNair here, we see here is a good example of this too. Big guys have to play and they develop later.
You have the same mindset Chris Jans has. He has said patience all the time with Will McNair because, like you said, big guys will take some time, more so than guards.
Chris Jans is about 1,000,000 times tougher than me. I may try to have the same mindset.
Tillman working hard. Thomas, and Donnie Tillman puts in 2 more. He has 9 in a starting role tonight.
Boy, he just takes over down there. He looks really good tonight.
The Aggies have made 12 straight from the field. They lead by 11. Problem is the Lancers have also shot the ball well. And McNair thought he had a block, and so did the Aggie bench and Chris Jans.
I thought that was a good block too, but again, it's the handoffs and the screen and rolls that are causing trouble for the Aggies, and they're coming from the top of the key and the free throw line. They're not coming from the wing tonight.
One more for Gorjak Gack. He averages a double-double. Swirls out the second. Good box out for McNair. And here's Evan Gilliard to bring the Aggies into the forecourt. NM State 13 of 17 from the field. 3 of 5 entrees. They have shot the ball well the entire weekend. They're just defending a little better here today. That's been the difference so far. Flare screen for Gilliard. Pulls up a long corner 2. Henry there, and he ran into his teammate Jabari Rice, who was in the way.
Well, that was a good problem. When 2 guys are going after the ball, that's a good sign too.
I don't think Chris Jans liked that shot from Gilliard. I don't think he minds a step back, but it was a step back 19 or 20 footer from Evan. Gack again defended by McNair, who stays vertical. He altered the shot a bit there, Russ.
Really terrific defense by Will McNair there. There's just all kinds of positives for the Aggies tonight.
On the curl, here's Henry. Rice is checked by Armstrong. Jabari from the corner, backing down Armstrong. 4 on the timer. Fadeaway jumper. That's an NBA move or a Pascal Siakam move there for Jabari.
I don't know how you stop that one. And big basket for the Aggies. When the shot clock expires and they still make the basket, that's luck is on your side maybe. Better stay down.
A quiet 10 now for Rice to lead all Aggie scorers. And Rao is bailed out by Gilliard, but that's only the 5th foul on the Aggies.
How do you guard that?
That's NBA stuff.
I don't know how you stop that one.
Rice was on the floor tonight at 4:45. He was by far the first person out there, and he was working on all sorts of moves. He's a gym rat. He loves being in the gym, loves trying to get better. Ty Rowell will curl, fade away, long 2, and Rowell has 9. It's been the Gack and the Rowell show for CBU. Evan Gilliard staying patient. Zone defense for the Lancers. Mid-post extended Tillman. Tillman has 9 so far. Help comes. There's McNair. And 1 for McNair. Count it. He's growing up right in front of our eyes.
I know, it's unbelievable. He must have had a birthday since a couple days ago. Nice pass by Donnie Tillman. I do want Tillman to stop head faking on Nottage. Nottage is that he can just go up over him.
Substitution.
Foul is on the St. Mary's grad transfer Elijah Thomas. That is number 2 on him.
In for Evan Gilliard. At the line, number
Will McNair will shoot 1, 4 of 6 from the free throw line in 7 games this year. Big man from Philadelphia misses the free throw. Thomas rips in the rebound. He's going to stay in with 2 fouls. C.J. Roberts all over Ty Rowell. 3 defenders around there. Gack trying to tip it. Grab by Rice. Here he comes.
Well, that's the kind of frantic defensive pressure you usually see from a Chris Jans team, and they just didn't have it last night.
McNair hands it off to Jabari. Back to McNair. Gack was trying to poke it away again. He did that earlier, and it was successful earlier.
Yeah, but you can't get away with that too often. And a little bit of frustration from Gack.
Will McNair will shoot 1 and the bonus when we come back. A great first half so far for the Aggies. One and the bonus coming up for McNair. Tonight's game is presented by Nusenda Credit Union, a proud supporter of Aggie Athletics. Get in the game with a New Mexico-themed credit card, debit card, or checks from New Mexico's locally owned and locally operated credit union. Learn more at nusenda.org.
And we've talked quite a bit about Rick Croy, the California Baptist coach, but one of his top assistants is Adam Jacobson. Aggie fans will remember Adam Jacobson because he was such a great player for Pacific back in the mid-90s. He was smart and tough, and now that I think of it, quite a bit like the California Baptist guards now. He was really, really smart and really tough and could make threes. And he played professionally in Australia for a few years. And I know Rick Croy has done a lot of recruiting in Australia also, and that, I think, is the reason for this down-under flavor.
Do you find that assistants who recruit, they recruit like they played?
Well, that's an interesting question. I hadn't thought of that. I think there's some truth to that. You know, I think Lou Henson and Don Haskins were both great shooters. But let me think about that.
Chris Jans was also a good shooter back in his playing days. Donnie Tillman defends it well, and he steals away the pass from Thomas. 8 turnovers in the first half for CBU, already more than they had all of yesterday. Backdoor to McNair, and he flips it home. Will McNair having himself a first half.
Wow. It's exciting to see, you know, when you see a big guy develop like that. And that was a left hand, and he looked around, he pivoted, he could have traveled if he wasn't so well drilled in his footwork.
Chris Jans said a few weeks ago, he said, if I can just get Will to play in a stance and run the floor, that's all I want right now. I think he's doing a little more than they expected.
Well, that's a huge thing with big guys, is to get them to bend their back and bend their knees and get down. They're used to, you know, being in junior high or high school where you just stand and be bigger than everybody, but that's not going to work in Division I basketball, and it's certainly not going to work against Gorjon Gack. But you asked about, do you recruit players in your style? One of the things that really made sense to me when I found out that Chris Jans, he played small college. I was a small college bench warmer, but Chris Jans was a great small college.
He could shoot.
He scored 25 points a game, and that made me realize, you know, that kind of blistering confidence you have to be a little guy and score a lot of points is exactly who Chris Jans is.
And he's turned out to be an outstanding Division I basketball coach. 3-time WAC Coach of the Year, and his guys are playing with some fire right now. Maybe a little too sped up there. Donnie Tillman trying to slow it down. Henry, long-range triple. He misfires, a rare miss for NM State. Ty Rowell with the left hand. He does that so well. Either hand, right, Russ?
Well, remember we talked about him doing it before, you know, in the gym beforehand when he was by himself. You know, Jabari was at one end working on his game, and Rowell was practicing left-handed shots. He seems to be fearless about using his left hand. But what I admire about Rowell is so unusual is he penetrates without being a fast guy, because I think his timing and he's got those wide shoulders, and he doesn't get panicky and try and run as fast as he can. He just gets a step on you and gets past you with those. Look at those thick shoulders. That mean, does California Baptist have a football team? He should be the middle linebacker, this guy.
Well, he now has a dozen, 12 for Rowell, who averages 15 per game.
Look here, they're back in the zone.
The Aggies screen the zone to get Roberts free. Ball was loose for a moment, and then a foul is called in the backcourt. That's going to be number 7 on the Aggies as a team. So they're going to send, it looks like, Armstrong to the free throw line for one of the bonus.
Yeah, that wasn't a great foul. He's 80 feet from the basket.
Check that, it's Nottage, not Armstrong, and it doesn't really matter. They both can shoot free throws.
That's right.
Although Armstrong is 88% and Nottage is 75%, but we know Nottage is looking at a beach ball hoop right now. I mean, the hoop looks huge to Reed Nottage right now with the way he's shooting the basketball. Nottage, just like Gorjak, is from Sydney, Australia. He's a sophomore, 6'6" guard. The WAC Player of the Week. Scored 19 last night, 26 last Saturday in a loss against Dixie State. And if you're Rick Croy right now, you could maybe make this a 2-possession game or something like that before the break. The Aggies need to finish strong in the final 2:15 of this half. Jabari Rice, contested 3. Backside board for Armstrong. Rowell and Gack have combined for 23 of the 30 for the Lancers. That was a bomb from Armstrong that misses. Rice has led all Aggie scorers with 10. He has the basketball right now in the wing. Aggies will screen the zone again. They bounce it in the corner for Henry. Bounces to McNair, and he floats it in. He's attacking aggressively.
And it's a different shot each time. That was at about 10 feet there, a little jump, kind of a semi-jump hook. A nice pass. Was that Clayton Henry with the pass?
It was. Contested 3 for Nottage. That's good defense for Gilliard in his face. Rice to Henry. Ball screen from McNair. Good patience leads to a good look for Rice. Misses that one a little bit short. And then he steals it in the backcourt. And that's going to be a foul on CBU and Rowell, it looks like. Yep. He tripped up Jabari Rice there in the backcourt.
Lancers number 25, Ty Rowell is second. 10th foul.
Well, it's just physical play. It was a difficult. We'll have to look at that from different angles, and we won't get to do that. But I think Rowell is really smart. He knows how to hold guys off with his free hand, but I think that time it turned out to be his free leg maybe a little bit.
Yeah, might have been tangled up just a bit. Game 2 of 2 in 24 hours between these two programs. Right back at it 24 hours later. The Lancers won last night by 10, 85-75 to win their 6th game in their previous 7. Coming up at halftime, we will talk to Mario Mocha, the athletics director for the Aggies. Part 2 of our 2-part interview with Mario. He'll talk about the consumables, Russ. The Aggies now have a beer, they have whiskey, they have wine, they have coffee.
Let's start with the coffee.
And they have a candle. Just in time for Valentine's Day.
I didn't know about the candle. I knew about the other ones. It's an exciting time. I think we're the only. Is it the Pistol Pizza Ale? It's the only major university with their own beer.
Correct. Well, a lot of them have beer. There's a number of colleges that have beer, but the Aggies have also delved into whiskey, wine, coffee, which is really unconventional, and now a candle. And Mario Mocha, who's watching, I think, nervously from this venue tonight, he said they're not done yet. He said that they're going to get into the chili, and he already has his hot sauce guy. I mean, he's not done yet.
Well, it's, New Mexico State has the great Chili Institute, which when I tell people that, they think I'm kidding, but it's an incredible organization right on campus. Jabari
Rice with 12 now. One night after we thought he might be injured and out for a while. A heel injury last night, and he's back at it and playing tonight. Tyrell gets the friendly bounce. He now has 14. What a first half he's played.
Yeah, I'd like to see Gilliard pick him up sooner and turn him. You know, I think if you're going to let Rowell get into his rhythm, I think he's got to go get him here. But look, he's picking him up at the three-point line. And I think that I'd like to see Gilliard take him out of his rhythm a little bit.
Speaking of rhythm, I think Jabari Rice is in a rhythm right now.
Yes, to say the least.
15 now for Rice. About a 2-second difference, game clock, shot clock.
Aggies go into the zone in a quick change, it looks like here.
And Tyrell now has 16, maneuvered in midair. Here's Rice. Gilliard, a clean look from 30 feet away. He got it. What a first half for Chris Jantz's ball club.
Wow. The Aggies they answered at every turn in the first half, Adam.
What a first half for the Aggies. They shoot 68% from the field. The Gilliard 30-footer is the 5th made three for the Aggies in the first 20 minutes. They lead 50-34 in El Paso. Halftime comes your way next. (50-34), NM State leads here at the halftime break. The Aggies looking for their first win in conference play this year, which seems crazy. 0-3 right now in the WAC. The Aggies have lost 3 in a row. To put that into perspective, the Aggies only had 3 combined losses, Russ, total the previous 3 years in the WAC, and now they're 0-3. This whole year has been crazy. It's been unbalanced. It's hard to really take a lot of this and put it in perspective because there's been teams that have been in pauses. There's been teams that haven't been in pauses. We hope the Aggies will now find their groove the rest of the way, stay healthy, play a lot of games, and play well. But it's been a very unbalanced year.
Yeah, and I know that Chris Jans would not like me saying this, but I think that, because he's just not the kind of guy who makes excuses, but no one has had a more difficult road to hoe than the Aggies with the cancellations and having to go to Phoenix to practice and play in El Paso, and it's been incredibly disruptive, and they've played less games than anyone in the league, you know, and a few of them are against non-Division I teams which only have a limited value, so things have been really stacked against the New Mexico State Aggies, and they have a bullseye on their chest because they've dominated the league in the last few years.
Aggies in the crimson, they will have the first possession here in half number 2. Evan Gilliard, hard of the rim, lays it up and lays it in as he bounces off of Gak. The Aggies picking up right where they left off in half number 1. Evan Gilliard with 10. He joins Rice in double figures. Elijah Thomas, he's bumped on his way to the rim. Will McNair gets a second half start, so Chris Jans clearly impressed with his play in the first half.
And Elijah Thomas is the St. Mary's transfer, and remember Rick Croy worked with Randy Bennett at St. Mary's at one time. Maybe another really great coach, Randy Bennett at St. Mary's, who's other than Gonzaga, no one has done as well in that West Coast Conference.
The Aggies saw Elijah Thomas a couple years ago when St. Mary's came to the Pan Am Center. He scored 9 in that game, which was a win for St. Mary's. (52-35) to score. Donnie Tillman was also good in half 1. A lot of guys played well. Gilliard sends it to the wing for Henry. Slipping outside, Jabari Rice. A new season high, 18 for the young man out of Houston.
Well, it's hard to believe. He looked like he might never get up yesterday when he went down, but boy, he sure bounced back here. And he's got all kinds of braces and he's taped up. His ankle's almost in a cast here.
Armstrong stuffs it down low to Gak. Defended well by McNair. Tapped out of bounds, and The Aggies could not corral it. Christian says, grab it, Will.
And one of the rare mistakes Will McNair has made tonight, they tried to, the one-handed rebounding never goes well.
You can tell right now, Chris Gienz is searching for consistent big men. He's trying everything. He's tried Lakai, McCants, McNair, and right now Will McNair is playing really well. So is Donnie Tillman, who's also in. 5 on the timer for Ty Rowell. Wide right, offensive rebound, and McNair had his momentum going towards Thomas, and he bumps him and he fouls him.
Foul New Mexico State, number 24, William McNair, is second.
Number 2 on Will. And now we get more contact. This one will go on Jabari Rice, who was trying to fight through a screen.
New Mexico State, number 10, Jabari Rice is first, 13.
Defended differently there by Rice, and he forces Armstrong into a miss. Armstrong hasn't scored. Nottage only has 2. Those 2 guys combined for 37 yesterday for CBU, and that's a big storyline in this one, Rob.
Yeah, if Armstrong goes scoreless, that would certainly help the Aggies. What a nice move by Evan Gilliard, who did sort of the shot and the spin move, and then sort of a hesitation move, and drew the foul.
Inbound goes to McNair. I think he's thinking about that three-point line. Will has not attempted a career 3, but he'll shoot them every once in a while in practice. Handoff goes to Rice. He's feeling it right now. Tillman bounces on the baseline to McNair. 4 to shoot. And McNair called for traveling. Took too long.
He must have slid that foot because his footwork has gotten much better. He must have slid his pivot foot there.
Ball screen from Gack. Rowell still with it. Nottage contested 3. Gilliard was in his face, defended well by the 5'9" Evan Gilliard.
Well, they certainly know where Nottage is tonight. After that seemed like an important point for the Aggies. He hasn't made a basket either, although he's got 2 free throws. But to shut down Nottage and Trey Armstrong the way the Aggies have tonight, they've had trouble with Ty Rowell, but they're doing a great job on Nottage and Armstrong.
And Nottage has only attempted 2 shots. Elijah Thomas with the interception and the scoop in the score, +1 on the other end. He was fouled by Rice. 2 fouls on Jabari here early on in half 2.
Jabari Rice is second, 14.
You said earlier, Russ, be careful, because with the ability to shoot the ball from the arc like the Lancers have, they can creep back into this in a hurry.
No, that's right. A couple. You let Nottage get a couple open shots. They're like layups for him.
You do not want to take your foot off the gas. And usually this is the juncture, too, where tired legs become a factor, because this is the second game in 24 hours. And these 2 teams battled last night.
Yeah, on top of that, the California Baptist players played, the starters played many more minutes than the Aggies did.
In fact, Ty Rowell played all 40 minutes yesterday. Gilliard, 4 to shoot for Rice, fires a 3, spins off, and it's going to stay here.
Well, pretty great effort by Gilliard trying to get the ball to his best shooter. He almost fell, but he was still able to get it to Jabari Rice for a good look there. I'm so impressed with Gilliard, who seemed only to be interested in scoring when he played for UTEP, and he's had a complete makeover. I wonder if Chris Jans had anything to do with that.
You know who I think had a lot to do with it, too, was A.J. Harris. He could watch A.J. Harris and learn from him a little bit last year as Tillman bounces off the defender and banks it in. Donnie Tillman now in double figures with 11.
I think you're right, and of course, Sean Buchanan's like the model for team player. Whoop.
Rowell might have been poked in his eye. Yeah, I think Ty Rowell was poked in his eye.
Go check on him, Evan. There you go.
Ooh, yep. The pointer finger, I think, on the left hand of Evan, who didn't even know he did it. Inadvertently did it.
Timeout for review.
Rick Roy pleading with one of the officials, and they're going to check the monitor. We typically see reviews for elbows, the hook and hold, stuff like that. Not necessarily an eye poke.
No. I'm not sure what it looked like. Gilliard maybe lost his balance a little bit there.
This can't be a flagrant for poking an eye, right?
I wouldn't think so. Well, it's hard to say. I didn't think that the Aggies could do anything to slow down Ty Rowell. So it was a surprise to see him slow down for any reason there. But he's a tough guy, and he's had a great 2 nights for California Baptist.
They're not done with the review yet. The players were heading back to the lane area. Ty Rowell tonight with 16 points, earned 7 of 10 shooting from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. It appears his eye's better. He came out of the huddle with CBU and appeared to be okay. The officials are discussing what each of them saw. There's no question he poked him in the eye. I just don't know how much it was.
Yeah, it's the thumb. It was the thumb.
It's always interesting, too. I always look at the coaches' reactions, and you can kind of figure out who got the better end of it. And it turns out to be nothing, I assume, because the Lancers will just inbound. All that for that.
Well, I hope we don't want to see anybody get hurt, of course.
And now Kalen Williams is in to check Rowell defensively. Williams trying to earn some more minutes in the Aggie guard rotation right now. He did play 2 first-half minutes. That's a clean look for Nottage, and it bounces off the shot clock.
Yeah.
Nottage can't get rolling here. That was the best look he's had all night.
Yes. And there has been no breakdown. There was a couple breakdowns yesterday where the Aggies didn't seem to know who was guarding Nottage, and that certainly has not happened tonight.
The difference last night is Armstrong and Nottage, they both were in rhythm. Right now they are clearly not in rhythm early on in half 2. Johnny McCants, who came off the bench in this game, misses the layup, cleared by Thomas for CBU. Minutes are down as well for Johnny, who's only played 12 minutes, and Thomas went right around him, and he dunked it next to the senior McCants.
Wow. Nice move by Elijah Thomas.
Double team comes on Tillman. Good look for Henry. He connects from long range.
Well, nice work by Donnie Tillman there, who's sort of forced the double team and was able to get Clayton Henry open.
And now the Aggies switch again, Russ, in the pick and roll. Gack on the roll, and that's a charge drawn by Donnie Tillman, and he lets out a roar.
Well, that's something we didn't see yesterday either. Is when California Baptist went with the 2-man game, there wasn't any help from the weak side, and tonight the help has been terrific from the weak side.
Energized and confident, the Aggies seeking their first league win. They lead the Lancers by 20. California Baptist averages 84 points per game. First in the WAC. They only have 40 tonight, Russ Bradford. How have the Aggies and Christian stopped this potent Lancers offense?
Well, they've extended the defense. They're much more aggressive, and the help has been terrific. Despite Ty Rowell seeming to have the Aggies' number, everybody else has been pretty much neutralized. And California Baptist has played pretty well offensively. They're shooting 50%. But it's just a different kind of pressure on Rick Croy's team that we've seen tonight.
CBU has scored 80-plus in 10 of their 14 games. It's going to be almost impossible for them to get there tonight in regulation, although they could if they get hot, of course, from the field. But right now, they're a ways away with 15:26 left in half number 2. And they've shot the ball okay, 50% from the field, but they've only attempted 7 threes. When they catch the ball in the arc right now, the Lancers, that is, there's an Aggie in their face.
That's right. That's right. And there's been no breakdowns where anyone's been left wide open. And you leave one of these Lancers open, they're smart and they can really shoot the ball.
Aggie bench has outscored the Lancers bench 16-2. A big reason why. C.J. Roberts, he's back in the game on the right wing. Donnie Tillman underneath, and he was maybe blocked by Gack there, at least partially deflected. It rolls out of bounds, and it's going to be Lancers basketball. Even if Gack didn't block that on the other end, he probably altered it. He's such a good shot blocker. He can really change the game defensively.
Well, it's something for all kids. If you're a college prospect watching tonight, like, you know, he went to Florida and it was just a little bit over his head, and it really slowed his development. Had he been at California Baptist for 4 years, there's no telling how good Gorjan Gack would be. And so I think kids always want to go to the higher level, but sometimes you're better off going somewhere where you know you're going to get to play.
McCants slings it outside. Look at that ball movement.
This is the Aggie movement of old, there, Chris. Adam, even though they didn't score there, boy, it was moving like the proverbial hot potato.
You love seeing that, don't you?
I do, and it's just great. I think that's the mark of Chris Jansen's team that I really came to admire, is how unselfish and willing to share the ball they all were. And I think that but it's not that they were playing selfishly before. It's a chemistry thing, and getting used to each other and getting the kinks out.
It takes time, and the Aggies haven't played many games and had a whole lot of practice time. It's a funky shot for Thomas, but he's drilled a pair of threes.
He has, and he's played well tonight, the Phoenix native.
A dozen now for Elijah Thomas, 2 above his season average of 10. Lancers back in that zone, 6 minutes in, half 2. Aggies will screen the zone. Roberts jumps to pass. He's done that a pair of times. This one is intercepted by Nottage. Thomas had it poked. McCants gets on the floor. It was under Johnny's legs, and it's picked up by Henry.
Great hustle by the Aggies.
Gilliard will wait for McCants, who gets into the front court. And the Aggies, who are in no hurry, will initiate the offense with Evan Gilliard. Evan has played a great game, a great floor game for the Aggie point guard. Misfires on that 3, ripped in by Wade. Evan Gilliard is in control of this Aggie offense right now, Russ, which is what we used to see with A.J. Harris.
That's right, and that's made a big difference. Boy, Rowell is tough.
19 for Ty Rowell, who scored 32 in the season opener at USC at the Galen Center in downtown L.A.
Timeout, Aggies.
Back with you live here at Eastwood High School in El Paso. Aggie home game tonight, 50 miles from the Aggie campus in Las Cruces. Adam Young, Russ Bradford with you. Lead is 14. The Aggies, though, are trying to get back on track offensively. This is a 6-0 run for the Lancers. And Jabari Rice able to get the Aggies back on track. He now has 20.
Well, that was the last thing he wanted to do, was shoot the ball, but he had no choice. And it worked for Jabari.
His career high is 29, by the way. Here's a steal for Gilliard, and he lays it in. Evan Gilliard now with 12.
But Adam, that's what I was talking about him getting out and pressuring Rowell a little bit further out from the three-point line. I think if you let him get close to the three-point line, you're asking for trouble. And Gilliard sure did it there. Gave him a little of the Simeon defense.
And now he's called for wrapping around the screener. And this will take us to our under-12 media here at Eastwood High School in El Paso. Great night for the Aggies. They lead the Lancers by 18. Conference play this year in the WAC is a game of adjustments. You play 2 games in 24 hours, and the Aggies have made the right adjustments from last night to tonight. Kudos to the coaching staff led by Chris Jans, and the Aggies lead 64-46 here at Eastwood High School. Tonight's game is presented by Nusenda Credit Union, a proud supporter of Aggie Athletics. Get in the game with a New Mexico-themed credit card, debit card, or checks from New Mexico's locally owned and locally operated credit union. Learn more at nusenda.org. There's Chris Jans.
Wow, yeah, great turnaround for Chris Jans, and he's still one of the hottest young coaches in the country. He's one of the top winning percentages, but just a rocky start to this strange season.
The Aggies, the 3-time defending WAC regular season champs, all 3 years under Chris Jans, who's the 3-time WAC Coach of the Year. Gack going against McNair, and McCants reached in and slapped Gack across his wrist. That'll be a shooting foul, and Gorjak Gack will shoot his 5th and his 6th free throws of the game tonight.
I thought it was the right idea by Johnny McCants. They can't let Gack take 6 dribbles inside the paint, and so I thought he had the right idea there.
Gack played his prep ball at Victory Rock Prep in Bradenton, Florida. Same prep school as Mayan Kier, one of the Aggie newcomers, who's a transfer from South Florida, began his career at LSU. Top 100 recruit, and we haven't seen Mayan play yet this weekend. He is on the Aggie bench and is available. Just haven't seen him play. You have to wonder if tonight might be the night, Russ.
It could be the night, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's still plenty of time left, and one of the best shooting teams in the country in gold there.
McNair with a right-handed hook. McCants was crashing. Rebound goes to Armstrong.
Not bad. That almost went in. Will McNair, he didn't want to shoot that, but the shot clock was winding down.
Gack using his 6'11 frame to grab the miss. Nottage, pump fake and a pull-up, and he cannot get anything to go. He's 0 of 4 from the field.
I thought that would go down for Reed Nottage. He's a great shooter. He just hasn't been able to get untracked.
McNair, floater, 8 feet away. Will McNair has 9 and 14 minutes.
I'm just delighted for the Philadelphia native. You know, David Anwar, one of the Aggie assistants, is from Philadelphia. Let's see, just when you think you've crossed a major bridge, here comes Ty Rowell to ruin things for you.
California Baptist.
Quite the night for Rowell. He has 22, which is not even close to a season high of 32 against USC in the opener. Aggie lead is down to 15. Sports Accessories has the best Aggie gear in town at the best price. Check out their showroom in Las Cruces or visit the online store at theaggieshop.com. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Thank you to Eastwood High School for being great hosts this weekend. And the Aggies still have 2 more home games in a couple of weeks on the conference schedule. Julio Lopez, the athletics coordinator, also the head football coach here, did a ton of stuff to make this happen this week. And there's been so many people, way too many to name. Of course, the Aggie Athletics Administration, led by Mario Mocha, Braun Cartwright, Chet Savage. This wasn't easy. Chris Heiser, who works for the Pan American Center, installed the shot clocks and did so many other things. And they had to tape down the three-point line, the restricted arc rust. There was some stuff to do. Not a whole lot, because this is such a great building, but there was some NCAA stuff to do in here.
Well, they weren't able to get the Texas logo off the midcourt and put the New Mexico, the shape of New Mexico down there, I guess. But yeah, it's one of the best high school gyms I've ever been in, I think.
3 is shallow for Henry. McCants has been active, and he just couldn't grab it.
Ball out of bounds to the Lancers.
Williams, Henry, McNair, McCants, Roberts for the Aggies. Carbone, Nottage, Armstrong, Gack, and Rowell for CBU on the floor. And Cack had it poked away, stolen by Johnny McCants.
Well, that's what I meant about McCants helping there. It was 4 or 5 dribbles from a 6'11" guy. You can't let him just back a guy down like that. So McCants made the right decision. Again, it was just the other time he fouled, remember?
He has Rowell defending him. 6 inches for Johnny. And he looks for Henry, and then it's stolen away. Huge mismatch, Russ.
Yeah, Johnny McCants looks, he usually brings great energy, that kind of Dennis Rodman energy, and he looks a little flat. Will McNair
doing it all.
Well, I think, when David Anwar recruited him, I'm sure there were some questions. He had a long way to go, but I think David Anwar he's a great eye for talent, and I don't think there's any question anymore. He's correct on this guy.
If I recall correctly, too, I believe David Anwar was the lead guy on Ivan Aore-Coachea out of Indian Hills. Chris Jans has raved about his coaching staff with James Miller, David Anwar, CB, Corey Barker. There's C.J. Roberts, a fancy finish down low.
Great body control by C.J. Roberts.
Rowell. Altered by McNair, snagged by Henry. 4 on 5. Roberts is late to get down the floor. Here he is. He's the trailer. He's looking for a screen. McNair will give Henry a screen. A pick and a pop for Will McNair. His first career 3, and he drains it. He's doing it all here tonight.
Wow. It's not like the game's over. That was a big shot for Will McNair. He had his feet set.
The first career attempted 3 for Will McNair, and he had Chris Jans breathing down his neck about 10 feet away.
He's not surprised. Well, it's quite a turnaround from last night, but again, there's still 8 minutes to go, and when you've got these hot shooting Lancers, it's way too early to start celebrating.
At the line for the Lancers, number 25, Ty Rowell.
New career high for Will McNair. He has 12. His previous career high was 11 against Western New Mexico in November of 2019. Aggies are still shooting well above 60%, by the way, 64%. Ty Rowell is keeping CBU in the game. We'll see if the Lancers have a big run in them. They trail by 18. On the attack is C.J. Roberts, and he missed the layup. Chris Jans thought a foul should have been called. Gilliard pokes it away. He has Tillman. He'll use him. Hello.
Great pass by Evan Gilliard. Nice steal. One of the few mistakes we've seen Ty Rowell make all weekend. But Gilliard picked his pockets.
Timeout on the floor.
73-53 Aggies. 13 for Donnie Tillman. Look at that face. We're back to El Paso after this. 73-53 Aggies ahead by 20 under 8 here tonight. There's been so many bright spots, so much to talk about. A lot of guys have played well. Jabari Rice has 20, Donnie Tillman 13, 12, Gilliard 11 for Roberts, and this was an emphatic dunk by Donnie Tillman, Russ.
Yeah, beautiful pass by Evan Gilliard, who forced the turnover, made the steal, and and Donnie Tillman's pretty happy. They didn't exactly pick his pocket. That was an overstatement, but he just stole the pass right out of his hands, which is something Tim Hardaway used to do, would be able to steal the pass, guarding the guy. He would steal the pass from the guy who passed the ball, if that makes sense. Essentially do what Gilliard just did there, sorry.
I know you don't want the attention, but fans need to know that you recruited Tim Hardaway to UTEP.
Well, it was quite an accident, actually, but I'm happy to take credit for it.
Tim Hardaway and his knuckleball jump shot, right?
Yeah, but there's been a long line of great guards coming out of Chicago, and the Aggies have certainly had their share with Randy Brown, Eric Channing, now Evan Gilliard, Zach Norvell Sr.,
Sean Harrington.
Sean Harrington,
tuned in.
of course, yeah.
I had a chat a few weeks ago. Thanks to you. You gave me, put me in contact with Eric Channing, the all-time leading scorer.
That was a great podcast.
I don't think I've ever met a nicer human being, and it was just over the phone, and he couldn't have been any nicer.
He is completely humble, and he was completely without ego. And I credit a lot of course, it's Eric's personality, but we talked about this, that he scored more points in college than he did in high school. And his high school coach was so insistent on a balanced team, and I think that really, really served Eric Channing well with the Aggies, but also in life.
It's been a good night for Elijah Thomas. He now has 14 for CBU. Scored 11 yesterday.
But, you know, we've talked about Gilliard and Chicago point guards, and if fans who did not see Sean Harrington play, they wouldn't be too dissimilar. Sean was right-handed, of course, but that kind of quickness, that kind of floor leadership.
Gilliard with the basketball, played at Simeon High School. He was first-team All-State as a senior. Started his college career right down the road at UTEP. Tillman grabs it, trying to hand it off to Lakai. He never really had his footing.
No, he's about to fall over and hit Wilfred Lakai in the shoulder with it. Just everything looked a little awkward there. That was a play from last night where the Aggies looked a little awkward and out of sync. Somehow it seeped into tonight.
We'll probably never know, but you just have to think that the Aggies have been so out of sync in recent games because of the lack of playing, both in practice and also in game situations. You have to play games to learn, don't you, Russ?
That's right, and to get better and to blend in. Johnny McCants has had a rare sort of sluggish night, but thank goodness Will McNair and Donnie Tillman have been so good.
Ty Rao will trigger for CBU. Lobs it into the freshman from Brazil, Malik Wade. Right back to Rao. Gilliard in his hip pocket. Carbone for three. He can really stroke it. Mark Carbone, grad student, a 43% three-point shooter.
All the way from New Hampshire.
Played a year at San Diego, then 3 at New Hampshire, and he grad transferred to CBU. And he's made a big impact off of the bench for Rick Croy this year. They don't go very deep, about 7 or 8 guys. Donnie Tillman, a step-in three. McCants flips over the defender for CBU and falls hard to the ground. He landed awkwardly, but fortunately it appears he's not hurt. But it was an awkward landing, and that'll freak you out as a player.
Well, I think he's a little surprised. Well, if they're going to look at Gilliard's thumb in the eye, that might be another one to look at. That might be a good one to look at again over on the side. And they are.
That was Carbone underneath McCants, and then Wade from behind.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That looks like that seems like a flagrant one to me, but we'll see what happens.
3 officials tonight: Scott Brown, Doran Gottschall, Chad Shepard. They're all over at the monitor. This is another thing that had to be brought into Eastwood High School, is the video replay machine. Among other things, on a night where Christian's ball club has played very well on both ends of the floor. 63% offensively from the field, 8 of 17 for 3, 8 of 13 on free throws. Jabari Rice has scored 20, 14 for Tillman, 12 for Gilliard, 11 for Roberts, and 12 for McNair, a new career high for him. This video review might take a little while. There's a lot to look at right there.
And to give Carbone the benefit of the doubt, you know, he's giving away 8 inches to Johnny McCants. There's not a whole lot he can do on a weak side rebound.
All he's trying to do is box out in that situation, right?
But boxing out a guy who's already up in the air is a little bit is a no-no.
Unfortunately, our broadcast location is up top, so we probably will not get the word.
I mean, he could have hit his head there. If he hadn't stuck his right hand out, he would have hit his head.
Unless they announce it over the public address system, we will not hear what the call was.
Baptist on number 1 Mark Carbone is a flagrant 1.
All right, so it is a flagrant 1 on Carbone. So you called it correctly, Coach.
Yeah, I just don't think you can box it. I mean, you're going to get a guy, you can break a guy's neck boxing out a guy who's up in the air. And probably a little bit of frustration on the Cal Baptist, part of the Cal Baptist team.
Johnny McCants much improved this year from the free throw line, 68%. Friendly bounce on free throw number 2. So this could turn out to be a big possession for the Aggies. Marcus Watson is in. First action for Marcus Watson tonight. He did play briefly, 5 minutes yesterday, did not score. Still looking for his first collegiate points. Rice outside to Watson, number 14 at Crimson. Former 4-star, top 50 recruit. Launches a 3, spins off. McCants is there, and 1 for Johnny.
Well, I'll say this for Johnny McCants almost landing on his head is I think this is indicative of the kind of person he is he's relentless, and you can't intimidate Johnny McCants. Forget about that.
McCants already has 3 points on this possession. This could be a 4-point possession for McCants alone.
I don't know what's grown more since the beginning of the season, Will McNair's game or Johnny McCants' beard, though. What do you think?
Good question. Johnny has had a decent beard before, so I'll go with McNair.
All right. Oh.
But the beard is long. Carbone from the corner. Rice on the weak side. Finds a way to pass it to Gilliard as he fell out of bounds. These are big minutes down the stretch for Marcus Watson. Trying to work his way into the rotation here as a redshirt freshman. Gilliard in the key, gets Carbone in the air, doesn't use it though. A 3 for McCants. Watson the offensive rebound. Watson spins and he scores.
Wow,
the first deuce collegiately for Marcus Watson.
Yeah, he's quick, isn't he?
Big and he's strong too. 6'6", small forward from Buford, Georgia. And he grabs the rebound. 2 rebounds for Watson.
And Gilliard settling things down. I was impressed with Gilliard. Gets right. He could have had a 3-footer, and he's looking for somebody else to shoot it.
Watson for 3. That's off the heel, no good. And the Aggies will reset with Gilliard.
So this is a new Evan Gilliard that we didn't see in El Paso, where he's only interested in floor leadership. That's why I was comparing him to Sean Harrington a few minutes ago. Oh.
A lot of contact. Tillman finishes. No foul call. Donnie Tillman was looking for one.
Wow.
Was that a technical foul on Rick Croy?
Maybe so, and I think when McCants almost landed on his head, that was a real turning point, because it's been Aggies on a burst. And there's no taking it easy on Marcus Watson. Look at Chris Jans. Here's Marcus Watson in his first real college game. He's getting to play, and he's getting an earful from Chris Jans. There's no letting up on anybody just because it's your first game.
So Evan Gilliard will shoot the technical free throws. I'm a little confused as why Rick Croy was upset.
I'm not sure either, but I'm a little worried. I know you talk to Chris Jans more than I do. Don't tell him I said that they've had a tougher road than anybody in America. I don't want he'll be angry at me for making excuses.
Free throw good for Gilliard.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. It might have just been frustration with Rick Croy, who has the reputation of a gentleman besides being a fine coach.
Aggies bring in Gerald Dokes for the first time tonight. So Chris Jans going really deep into his bench as he searches for a deep rotation. He would like to play 9 or 10 guys if he can.
So look at Gilliard hassle Ty Rowell out there, where he's got to turn 4 or 5 times. That's what I want to see Gilliard do all the time, at least with Ty Rowell.
Bounce pass is out of the reach of Wade. Good defensive stand for the Aggies with 4 and change left. This also could be a good sign, too, for the Aggies, Russ. If guys like Watson and Dokes can give you 5 or 10 minutes a game, then you can spell Henry, Rice, and Gilliard a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of time with Marcus Watson, where it'll be 28 minutes a game and maybe even more.
Double team comes on Tillman. Grabbed by Watson. A three from the corner. That's Gerald Dokes. And a foul on the rebound is called on Watson.
Well, I'm applauding him for that kind of aggression going after the offensive board. He thinks he got fouled. He's a little surprised.
19.
He said the foul's on me?
But again, that's a good foul. The going after the ball foul is a good foul.
It'll send Trey Armstrong to the free throw line for two, his first 2 free throw tries tonight. He's 88%, but he missed a pair yesterday.
That's his first point of the game. So credit the Aggies for hassling Armstrong into a unusually poor scoring game.
And Nottage only has 4, and that was one of your keys to the game.
Yeah.
So your keys were accurate.
Every now and then I'm right. It's not that often, but
Watson, Dokes, Tillman, McNair, and Gilliard. Watson misses, and he puts it back in using his athleticism.
Yeah, it's not just that he jumps well, but he jumps quickly, and both of those last 2 baskets he's got was pretty explosive quickness.
These are important minutes. You can't state it enough for Marcus Watson. Armstrong shallow, cleared by Tillman. Donnie Tillman has 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 helpers in 30 minutes. He backs down Nottage, outside to Dokes. He'll fire again. Missed it short, tipped up by McNair, and he's called for over the back.
I'll say it again. Another good foul.
It's all Aggies tonight here in El Paso. They lead by 25, 3:20 left here at Eastwood High School. So you got Chris Jans, Rick Roy, Mark Madsen, Billy Gillespie. The list goes on and on. Some really good coaches in the league.
It's some pretty, Lou Hill at Rio
Rice
Grande
Drew at
Valley.
GCU.
Yeah, my gosh, there's some terrific coaches in the WAC.
Malik Wade will shoot 2. Big freshman from Brazil. He is a 54% free throw shooter. He was impressive last night. It's been a slow night for Wade off the bench. He only has 3 in 14 minutes. Last night he scored 6 and had 5 rebounds in 14 minutes. Really gave the Lancers some good minutes last night when Gorjak Gak was in foul trouble in half 1. Kalen Williams will run the point for the Aggies. JUCO transfer from Western Nebraska. By way of Hephzibah, Georgia, his hometown. And here's Mayan Keir. Just his 2nd game of the season, a former top 100 recruit. He played against CSUN and hasn't played since. Some confusion for the Aggies with 2 to shoot. Donnie Tillman a 3, and he makes it. 19 for Tillman.
Well, that's unusual. Donnie Tillman shooting the 3 on Carbone, one of the best 3-point shooters around. Wasn't what I expected.
And a timeout is called to get some subs in. With 2:40 left, Donnie Tillman will get out of the game and gets a big high five from Chris Jans. Great game tonight for Donnie Tillman.
Yeah, terrific. And Aggies have all their starters out of the game. All new players for the Aggies. We'll have to work hard to keep them straight here, Adam. Don't let up. Chris Jans will be honest if we let up.
Lakaya near steal. He pokes it away. Here comes Marcus Watson. Hello!
Well, you can sort of see what the fuss is about with Marcus Watson as a freshman. Pretty impressive.
Jermaine Miranda loses the handle, runs over Keir, and it's Aggie basketball. Some new guys in as well for CBU, including Tobin Kund, Jermaine Miranda, and Freddie Dybala. How about that dunk for Watson? That's going to be our Whataburger play of the game.
Oh, I mean, you can't decide yet. There's still another 2 minutes.
It has to be, Russ.
There's still another 2 minutes.
It has to be.
What if he does one left-handed?
That's true. Hand off to Gerald Dokes with 1:40 left.
One thing I love about Gerald Dokes is he's not a set shooter, boy. He really elevates on his shot the way Clayton Henry does.
And Mayan Kier will head to the free throw line for 2. Kier kind of an enigma right now, Russ. We just don't know a whole lot because he's only played in one previous game for the Aggies, but he comes in highly regarded. He was a 4-star, top 100 guy. Was at LSU and played, was at South Florida and played, and we'll see if he has a role for the Aggies going ahead.
Well, he's got a nice looking free throw, gets a nice backspin on it. Lou Henson would like that.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he gets a nice rotation on it. It's hard to, that's one important thing to look at with the big guys if he can make free throws. And this guy can.
Tajon Sawyer also now in for CBU. He catches the deflected pass. 270-pound freshman. They're going to wave off the basket. He could be a good one down the road. 6'8", 270 from San Francisco, and he's going to shoot 2. Lancers in the double bonus the rest of the way. Sawyer, a good shooter for a 270-pound. And the second free throw is good.
Yeah, another good-looking free throw shooting big man there.
Watson finds Dokes on the wing. Dokes along 2, and he hits it.
But see how he's getting up 2 or 3 feet in the air when he shoots that one. That's going to serve him well in Division I basketball.
Here's Miranda with the left hand, shoots it over Marcus Watson, and that one rolls in. Well, we did not see this one coming tonight, did we?
I didn't. I came in thinking the Aggies could lose both of these.
10-point win last night for CBU, and the Aggies able to run away with this one tonight. It shows a lot about how ready the Aggies were to play tonight, because things could have gone sideways, right?
Well, that's right. And when you shoot like California Baptist and you're smart and you've got the big guy Gack, it's a dangerous team. It's a team that could win the WAC tournament, as are the Aggies.
Substitution for the Aggies, number 20, Tennessee Owens.
The walk-ons will come in. Bryce Rewalt and Tennessee Owens.
More local guys like Johnny McCants.
High school teammates at Centennial. Best friends on and off the floor. And one for Miranda. Jermaine Miranda, transfer from Hofstra by way of Puerto Rico. Spent a year at Hofstra and only playing in his 6th game with the Lancers, maybe trying to earn some minutes here. Watson grabs it. There's about a second difference, game clock and shot clock, as we wind things down here in El Paso. A 3 for Watson and 1 for Marcus Watson. He crossed up the defender, and he gave us another highlight reel play tonight.
See, that could be the Whataburger play of the game. Maybe you just better wait and see what else Marcus Watson has in his hip pocket there. Look at that. That's I think we call that breaking ankles back in Chicago.
Free throw for Watson is good. So Marcus Watson has scored 8 points in only 6 minutes. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of him next weekend against Seattle. Jumper is good. On the elbow for Freddie Dybala. Just his 3rd and 4th points this year. And Gerald Dokes will try to dribble out the clock. Heck of a night for the Aggies, Russ.
Yes. Quite a night for the Aggies. And maybe this will turn things around confidence-wise for them.
Final score 97-70. The Aggies win this one by 27, and they split the weekend series with CBU. The Aggies scored 50 points in the first half, 47 in half two. And they collect their first conference win of the season. The Aggies improved to 4-4. Lancers fall to 9-6. And they are now 4-4 in the WAC.